What if the solution to Hawaii's housing crisis wasn't found in new laws or billion-dollar developments, but in the steel tracks already being laid beneath the city? In the heart of Honolulu, a sleek, elevated train glides silently above the streets, a symbol of progress and controversy. Supporters call it a lifeline. Critics call it a financial disaster. But there's a new conversation happening in 2025. Could Hawaii's new rail system, the Skyline, actually help fix the state's broken housing market? It's an idea that's dividing the islands. Some say this could finally make homes near stations affordable. Others fear it's just another promise that won't reach real people. In this episode of Detailed Report, we dive into the link between transit and housing and ask, can a rail project really save one of the most expensive places to live in America?
For decades, Hawaii's housing crisis has been one of the toughest in the United States. The average home price in Honolulu is now above $900,000. Rents have climbed past $2,300 a month, and the average family needs 2 or 3 incomes just to survive. But what if the answer isn't just about building more houses? It's about where we build them. Enter Honolulu's Skyline, a massive rail system under construction that aims to connect the island's western suburbs to its urban core. The first segment opened in mid-2023, running from East Kapoli to Aloha Stadium. The second segment, set to launch in late 2025, will extend service through the airport and into Kalihi. By the end of the decade, the line will reach downtown Honolulu and Kakaʻako. On paper, it's a transportation project, but in reality, it could be much more. Honolulu's mayor, Rick Blangiardi, and the city's Department of Housing and Land Management have tied the project to a vision of transit-oriented development, or TOD. The goal? Build thousands of new homes, including affordable ones, within walking distance of train stations. If that vision becomes reality, it could fundamentally reshape how and where Hawaiians live. The train wouldn't just move people, it could move the economy. But making it work will require political courage, smart planning, and time. In this report, we'll explore what's really happening on the ground, how the rail system, the housing shortage, and new development plans intersect. And we'll ask the question every local is wondering: will this project actually deliver relief or just more empty promises?
The story of Hawaii's rail system began decades ago, born out of frustration with traffic and isolation. Honolulu has some of the worst commute times in the U.S., with drivers spending over 60 hours a year stuck in congestion. The rail was supposed to be the solution, connecting Kapolei, the second city, to downtown Honolulu, reducing reliance on cars and cutting commute costs. But from the start, the project faced controversy. Costs ballooned from the original $5 billion estimate to more than $10 billion, making it one of the most expensive rail projects per mile in American history. Construction delays, political battles, and funding issues plagued progress for over a decade. Then, in 2023, the first segment finally opened. For the first time, residents could ride Skyline from East Kapolei to Aloha Stadium, about 10 miles of track. Ridership was modest but growing. By early 2025, daily ridership exceeded 12,000 passengers, with projections to triple as new segments open. Now the project is entering a critical stage. In August 2025, the Kakaʻako extension officially broke ground. 6 new stations and nearly 3 miles of line that will bring Skyline closer to downtown Honolulu's heart. According to Hawaii's Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, this phase is where the potential for transit-oriented housing becomes real. Around these future stations, the city has designated TOD zones, areas where density limits can be relaxed and mixed-use housing can be built faster. Officials believe that by linking new housing to public transit, Honolulu can ease both the housing shortage and urban congestion simultaneously. But the rail's success depends on one thing: whether people can afford to live near it.
Transit-oriented development, or TOD, is a simple but powerful concept. If you build housing, jobs, and services near rail stations, you reduce dependence on cars, expand access to jobs, and lower household costs. Cities like Denver, Portland, and Washington, D.C. have used TOD to create affordable, walkable communities. Now, Honolulu wants to follow that model. In 2025, the city released several RFQs, requests for qualifications, inviting developers to build housing around future stations. One of the most important is the Kalihi Mokaua project, where the city is offering land across from a future station for affordable housing construction. According to Honolulu's Department of Housing, the site could support over 150 new units focused on low and moderate income families. Another example is Pohala Station, near Waipahu. Land owned by Kamehameha Schools is being developed into a mixed-use project, with more than 530 residential units, ground floor shops, and public plazas, all within walking distance of the train. These projects aim to show how transit can catalyze housing without massive government subsidies. The mayor's office has also outlined a plan to transform the Iwulei Kakaʻako corridor into a dense, livable urban hub, adding more than 2,000 new housing units near future rail stops. These neighborhoods are strategically chosen, close enough to downtown jobs, but far enough to create new communities rather than overcrowded cores. If done right, TOD could make living near transit more affordable than owning a car. Studies show that families living near public transport save up to $10,000 a year in transportation costs. In Hawaii, where gas prices are among the highest in the country, that's a life-changing difference. But TOD's success isn't guaranteed. Without strong affordability mandates, developers may still target high-end buyers, especially investors from the mainland or Asia. The challenge for Honolulu will be ensuring that locals, not outsiders, benefit from the rail revolution.
The first and biggest challenge is cost. Building in Hawaii is notoriously expensive. High land prices, imported materials, and labor shortages drive construction costs far beyond the U.S. average. Even with TOD incentives, developers struggle to make affordable units profitable without public funding. Another barrier is zoning and bureaucracy. Hawaii's land use laws are complex, with overlapping state and county jurisdiction. It can take years to approve a single project, especially near environmentally sensitive zones. The government is working to streamline this process, but change is slow. Then there's public skepticism. Many residents see the rail as a financial sinkhole that's already cost taxpayers billions. Convincing them that it can also solve housing problems will require transparency and visible results. Honolulu's mayor has promised proof-of-concept projects within 2 years, meaning tangible, affordable units rising near key stations by 2027. Another challenge is gentrification. Transit-oriented development can raise nearby land values, ironically pushing out the very residents it aims to help. This has happened in cities from San Francisco to Seattle. To prevent that, Honolulu plans to enforce inclusionary zoning, requiring a share of units to remain permanently affordable. Finally, there's the issue of ridership and revenue. For the rail to truly integrate with housing, it must be reliable and accessible. So far, ridership is growing, but still below targets. Without strong usage, funding for future expansions could dry up, stalling both transit and housing ambitions. These challenges don't mean failure, but they do mean that optimism alone won't build homes.
So, can Hawaii's new rail system really rescue the housing market? The answer depends on execution and time. Experts believe that if the city can deliver just a handful of successful TOD projects by 2030, it could trigger a cultural shift in how Hawaii approaches housing. The rail corridor between Kapolei and Kakaʻako could become a new spine of opportunity. connecting affordable homes with jobs and services. Instead of endless sprawl and traffic, Honolulu could become a model for sustainable island urbanism. But for that to happen, leaders must align housing policy with transportation planning. As of 2025, Honolulu's housing plan includes tax incentives, density bonuses, and public-private partnerships to attract developers. If these tools work together, rail could become more than infrastructure. It could be a housing catalyst. There's also an environmental dimension. TOD could reduce emissions, car dependency, and urban heat, aligning with Hawaii's goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2045. It's not just about affordability. It's about sustainability and resilience. Still, success will take years. Even the most optimistic projections show that the first wave of TOD housing won't open before 2027. But every mile of track and every new unit built near it brings the vision closer. For locals who've waited decades for affordable housing, that progress, however slow, matters.
The rail is more than a train. It's a test of whether Hawaii can reinvent itself. Can the islands move from car-dependent sprawl to smart, inclusive growth? Can government and developers work together for the common good, not just profit? Transit-oriented development offers hope, but not a miracle. It can't solve every housing problem, but it can rewrite part of the story. Every family that can live near work, every kid who doesn't need a long commute, those are small victories that ripple outward. If Hawaii gets it right, the Skyline won't just connect neighborhoods, it will connect opportunity to the people who need it most. And perhaps in that connection lies the beginning of a more livable paradise.